from WWE's part. I did like the bit where he came in, Matt, and he called him, "And you beastie boy." They got a massive pop, and then fans started chanting. I thought that was hilarious. I think you could even see Brock trying not to smirk at that a little bit. You know, you could see him laughing because of what he'd have said there. And I felt like they played that well. And I think, you know, again, very short match, but was it going to be anything else really? What they haven't already done. You know, I did not want to see a long drawn out match between these two again. If I'm completely honest, I think we've seen that in Saudi Arabia. We got what we got at WrestleMania, and at this point, Matt, I was kind of happy that it was going to be the way it was. As soon as obviously Braun went out of the ring, they did that whole thing where Brock was still watching him, and then, you know, Roman comes in with the Superman punches. I don't know if he does 3 or 4 of them in a row there. Very much reminded me of the whole sort of Goldberg, Brock Lesnar intense battles that they had, the way they booked this. But sometimes, you know, it works out well, and I think this is one of those opportunities that kept fans engaged enough. Obviously, Matt, they did bring Braun Strowman into it a little bit when Brock ducked, and Roman ended up sort of going straight into him over the top rope. Then we see Brock going outside as well, and you know, at this point, you know, as soon as I see Brock Lesnar give the F5 to Braun, I'm like, man, the WWE is just going to make Brock the most indestructible thing ever. Like, now he's just taken Braun out, he's got him out of the way with. I'm like, Jesus, you know, this is it. And again, you know, he does all that. He hits Braun with the Money in the Bank, and then throws the Money in the Bank briefcase, Matt. Like, I was thinking, Jesus, imagine if that angle had gone slightly wrong. Lawsuit, damn you. On his way out, you son of a bitch. You can imagine it, can't you? But yeah, I mean, it shows the strength of Brock Lesnar. I know people will think it's only a briefcase, but like, the height on that thing, it seemed like it didn't land for about a minute. I was like, where's that gone? And then you see it hit all the way. Like, geez. I seen him do that once when he took that car apart. And I don't know if you remember, Matt, but he took that door off. And
that's what I said.
Yeah, straight into the fans. It's like, wow, okay. So yeah, Brock, you know, certainly gets a different rule set, doesn't he, to everyone else. And yeah, he literally gets back in the ring. And, of course, by this point, Roman's not sleeping as normal. He's bang on it because he's playing possum, and, you know, lays in the spear, Matt, and, you know, just like that, 1, 2, 3. After I don't know how many years, Matt. After all the times we've ever said, Matt, you know, why does Kevin Owens have to lose tonight? Or why is it Braun's losing tonight? Oh, it's because they're going to make Roman Reigns. They've got to do this. After all that, Matt, finally, after I think 6 months or whatever it's been since WrestleMania, which I thought it was happening there, a little bit longer than anticipated. It's happened, Matt. At this point, I think fans didn't expect Braun to then cash in. I noticed the WWE did a very quick job of cutting off quick before the fans would start going, "Where's Braun?" So they shut that down quick, but it did get a kind of half decent reaction, Matt. I mean, it wasn't terrible at the end of it. Now, I will say that 24 hours removed, we'll go back to the same building tonight. I can almost guarantee when Roman comes out, that may be a different interpretation of what we get. However, it wasn't too bad, Matt. I've summed it up there from what I saw. What did you think of the entire thing, Matt? And of course, the build up to this has been very lengthy. What did you make about Braun being out there, Matt?
Well, yeah, I don't want to dissect this too much, you know. I can get into that, but looking at it, like Braun, like, he comes out and he says, "I'm not a coward. I do this face to face. So I'm going to stand outside the ring and watch you two guys beat the hell out of each other, and then I'm just going to come in and kick the ass of the guy that's pretty much knackered." I've
got to say, sorry to cut you off. I thought when he came out there, that was making it a triple threat. Because I'd seen that done. If you remember back to WrestleMania 31, didn't they just like... Seth Rollins just come out in the middle of the match and it was made into a triple threat. So That's what I was thinking anyway.
That's why I thought when Braun came out, I thought that's what he was going to do. I thought, okay, so he's telling us all that he's not a coward, he's a fighting guy, he likes to fight. But no, he told us he likes to watch people fight and then take the easy fight from the guy that's knackered after the fight. I thought that's so against his character. If you're going to do that, why don't you just make it a triple threat? And I feel like that would have been more exciting, maybe. And it still would have done no harm to Braun, because it still would have been in the same position laid out outside the ring. It just would have made the whole fight a bit more dynamic. But then I suppose they would have taken the contract of a Braun, which I'm not too sure is a bad thing, because do we all want to see Roman versus Braun again? Because
well,
Braun's he's gonna do it face to face with Roman. He's not gonna just jump him, apparently. So we're gonna see another full on feud between these two, you'd think.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think the only reason Braun was out there really was because of they didn't want the fans. They wanted the fans to be slightly distracted, because if Braun isn't out there, then you either have fans, singing goodbye to Brock or whatever, or this is crap or whatever not, or you have them waiting for Braun to come down and chanting for Braun. So by having him there, almost distracted the fans from sort of getting too anxious about it, because you had Braun outside. I think that's the only reason it was done. And to be honest with you, Matt, Braun was used here more as a ploy. I mean, this was just... It was very manipulated, and I think this was obviously a long outstanding idea to even have this whole Kevin Owens thing when you look back on it now, because that is basically what he was there for. He was a decoy to distract the fans somewhat from, making Roman the guy. And it always seems that happens when Roman Reigns is involved. Either Dean Ambrose is there or something. They try to do something. You wonder how long they can get away with keep doing that. And, there's going to have to become a point where that's not the case. Matt, obviously, it was the moment. To me, it was like, thank the Lord it's happened now. Because I don't know how much more I could go on with that, waiting for Roman to make his moment. It's happened now at SummerSlam, Matt, not WrestleMania. I can't say it really leaves as big as imprint as it probably would have done at WrestleMania. I know that they didn't want to seem to do it there, and they had Brock go over fairly clean twice, sort of almost. But now we've got it, Matt. I mean, for Roman Reigns, he's their guy again. Would you do you think there's going to be some? Do you think this is a turning point for him, or do you think that they're going to go down the same path that they normally do when he gets the belt, and there might be more problems to come here? What do you think? Because the only problem is now, Matt, you've got Braun Strowman, who's a babyface as well. It's not like last year when he was a heel, and he's the one with the money in the bank. So is it almost like fans are going to turn on Roman and want Braun to get that as quick as possible now?
Well, you see, we're in for an exciting time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying everyone tune in, keep your eyes glued to the TV, but if it is interesting to see how this all pans out now. And even Brock, how done is he with WWE at this point? Because the way he lost, you said that Braun was there to distract the fans, but it was also another clever ploy to distract Brock Lesnar, because when he got in the ring, he was, he can argue the fact that he didn't lose fair because he had his sights occupied, so it was like a kind of a distraction for him. So you can say that, and then it doesn't make Brock really look too bad. So there's always that possibility. Brock can always challenge for his rematch whenever. To be fair, I wouldn't be against seeing a triple threat between these three guys, because at least if the fans see Brock versus Roman one more time, I don't know whether they can keep it together. But if Brock's in this situation and there's a possibility he could win, then that's actually at least something the fans can be rooting for. But do we all want to see Braun versus Roman? I'm really not sure. I mean, I know we spoke about it before, and we said that they bring out kind of the best in each other when they feud, but there's only a limit to what you can do with them.
I don't want to see.
Too long ago we saw this.
I don't think they would have babyface versus babyface. Quite frankly, I can't see it. I think they may hold off Braun for a lot longer than what we think. But that is going to be a problem because as long as Braun's got that money in the bank, fans are going to wish it happens every single night Roman defends that title. Or there would at least be 50% of the fan audience that wishes that. I'm quite sure of it.
Well, I suppose there's different angles they can do this from as well. I mean, like, any time that he threatens to cash it in, you could have Kevin Owens in the wings saying, well, I'm just going to ruin it for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I was kind of surprised Kevin didn't get it because, there you've got a perfect feud made almost. It's, they could have a program for a while, Kevin Owens and Roman, but WWE must have plans. Now, we've got to address... Matt, what are you giving that on a rating, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. This was difficult. It wasn't what I expected. I mean, to be fair, like, the start of the match, I just want a champion that is going to be there and defend the title, and I'm going to see it on every pay-per-view, so I'm not too sad that Brock Lesnar doesn't hold it anymore. I mean, Brock Lesnar will still be a massive draw, massive attraction in whatever match he's in, I'm sure, but, people are going to hate on Roman and say that they're sick and tired of his character and that, but perhaps, we don't know what the future holds. We always hold out hope that some people go in a different direction, but, the Shield are all there now, so, two of them are champions. I don't know what dynamic that's going to bring. We'll see how that goes. But, for the whole match itself, I don't know, 2.5 stars. I mean, there was exciting moments. I mean, it had highs, but it was a really, really short match. I mean, I don't know the exact time on this, but I remember I'm going to get ready, I'm going to get my tea and stuff, I'm going to come over and watch this match. And I looked at the time and I was like, really? For the main event, you're giving it this kind of time slot? I'm like, that ain't.
It was an extra 2 minutes on top of the Ronda match, so it was 6 minutes 20 seconds. Is all you got.
That's not a bad paycheck for Brock to pick up.
Oh yeah, that's good for him. I mean Brock, like Matt said, he was kind of protected. I give it a 3. I think like it. I give him a little that extra bit half because of the creative idea of using Braun, so you don't. And I do think, Matt, that whatever happened in the meeting between Vince and Brock, that the fact that they protected him somewhat in that match kind of gives you a little bit of a heads up of maybe they'd sorted something. Now, whether that means letting Brock go, let him train for this big fight that he's going to have coming up against Daniel Cormier, see what happens, get him like a preset deal so that you got him in time for WrestleMania, Matt, because again, you don't know what's going to happen in a UFC fight. You can't just predict that, but let's say all goes well, Matt. All of a sudden you're going to want Brock at WrestleMania. You're going to want a UFC heavyweight champion showing up on your show, and then they might want to make that history moment down the line of having the first guy to hold 2 belts at the same time. Who knows? I'm sure that is something that's on the radar, Matt. They like to make history like that, and they would also like it if they've got the sort of UFC champion on their show, Matt, and it's their guy. So I do think there's a lot of worth to having a guy on your roster under your contract winning a legit championship, because it then legitimizes everything going on in WWE. And to be fair, although we've spoke about not wanting Brock to defend, wanting to defend it all the time, if he did win the UFC title, by him winning the WWE or whatever WWE title it is, will only increase that value even more. So there is real worth to having it, in my opinion, if they can get something sorted out. Now, again, he's scheduled to be there tonight, Matt. In his remaining contract, he was scheduled to be there. Now, like Jimbo has been emailing in frantically, Matt. He wants me to say this, that he thinks that Brock is actually gonna win his title back tonight by hook and crook, by some misfortunes, and he's going to end up leaving it. And he thinks they actually will go with my original idea from about a month ago about having an intern championship until Brock returns. I don't know about that. That might be a bit too far-fetched, because I don't remember Brock ever wrestling on Raw. That would be a first. But it would certainly be quite exciting if that was announced. But I can't see it, Matt. I mean, you've just made Roman the guy. How can